Time for your fan weather update brought to you by Habish, and Rotier. Sunny today, high near 60, partly cloudy skies this evening, a low of 49 degrees. It is currently 41 degrees in Milwaukee.
Here we go. 1-2 the count on Churio. And he got him. Miller with a strikeout. San Diego does it again. A comeback win. 3-run home run with 2 outs in the ninth. Off the bat of Gavin Sheets. And a 3-1 final tonight. The series all even at 1 apiece. Brewers will go for the series win tomorrow afternoon. Vinny, it was almost a perfect run for the Brewers through the ninth inning until Gavin Sheets delivered.
Yeah, a little bit of a gut punch loss right here.
Yeah, a little bit of a gut punch, Vin. Concur. 1 strike away. Ugh. Abner. I mean, you can't be walking dudes in the ninth. That's really what it comes down to. Bad pitch, home run, ball game. Hey, what's up, Wisconsin? Welcome in. What day is it, Brandon? Thursday? Happy Thursday.
It's Thursday, yes.
Inside Wisconsin Sports. Trevor Thomas. That is Brandon Snide in for Josh. And we are off and running from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Josh is out, I think, until like Tuesday or Wednesday or something. There's going to be a lot of Brandon Snide on the morning show between now and then. Thanks for jumping in, bud. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Happy to be here. Excited to be here. It's been a while since I've been up this early, but
I was going to say, are you happy?
The good thing of it, Trevor, is that the roads were, nice and clear. I had no traffic issues this morning. So my drive in was smooth sailing. So
no snow. That's fun. All winter in the dark. All right. Well, every day, Brandon, at this time, we play catch up. Here we go.
Packers.
Lots of Packers stuff. Today, happy schedule leak or release day. Careful on the old socials today. There's going to be a lot of things that will tell you there are games here, there, not there, here. Be careful. It'll all come out eventually today as the NFL releases its entire schedule today. And then each team puts together their little social media release. And that will drop today. They're pretty good. They're well done. Some are much better than others. I think the Packers have done a pretty decent job with their piece that they put out. But nonetheless, we know a few games, right, Brandon? So Thanksgiving Eve. How do you feel about that?
I don't mind that one. I don't. We don't know the full schedule yet, right? Christmas could be a potential game for the Packers.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I try to keep, the one thing I look at for the schedule, Trevor, when it comes out, okay, when's the bye week and then what holidays, right? You got kids, right. I got kids. I want to make sure if I could leave the holidays alone and then just play these games around them. So that's why I don't mind the Wednesday for the Packers. Now, I would anticipate they're going to have a bye week, right, before or after that game against the Rams out there in
There's
LA.
No choice.
Just because of the scheduling, right? Or they could play on the Thursday before, maybe the Thursday after, I suppose. But I honestly don't mind. I don't mind the Wednesday before Thanksgiving because then, Trevor, I like food. I like to eat. Then Thursday can be left alone to just sit there and either celebrate the win or eat in my sorrows.
Yeah, you're gonna overeat in Thanksgiving one way or the other.
Right.
Might as well.
So, it is what it is. I don't mind it, but I hope we'll see, in a handful of hours, I hope Christmas is left alone for the Packers.
Yeah, that does not appear to possibly be the case. And this is the hard part, right? So we'll share with you what we know and then what the internet thinks it knows. And then tonight we'll get it all and share again with you tomorrow morning, literally all of the games that have been released. So Thanksgiving Eve, that's at the LA Rams. It's a Be Better Thursday on Inside Wisconsin Sports. There's a high likelihood that makes my list. That was the game we were hoping to go to. It's not so much this idea of a Wednesday night game before Thanksgiving, although I think it's getting ridiculous. I digress. That was the one that we were hoping to go to. Well, guess what? That's not happening. We're not going to LA for Thanksgiving. That's not a thing. I hope the Packers travel to that as well as we typically travel to other games. That one worries me a little bit just from we're always awesome on the road in terms of support standpoint. So we'll see how it shakes up.
And Matt LaFleur's never lost to Sean McVay. Everybody loves to crown Sean McVay. Fine. A lot of people like to criticize Matt LaFleur. Fine, I get it. He's 5-0 against Sean McVay. And it's essentially a home game, or will be a home game for the Green Bay Packers.
The Packers also go to the Jets week 2. That's been released by someone. I don't know who or how, but everybody seemed to confirm that one. So again, is it official? No. And that one seems to be something that everybody was comfortable talking about. So at the Jets, the weird part about that is that leaves it open to interpretation on whether the Packers are going to be home to start the season or on the road to start the season. And I wrote down, this completely depends on how Wisconsin and Notre Dame paint the field for the college game over Labor Day weekend. It's a home game for Notre Dame. So do they come in and deck out Lambeau Field in Notre Dame colors and logos in the end zones and over the middle of the G? Or do they keep it Packers, which gives them a shot of hosting? I guess we're going to be able to, well, we'll find out today, but that was the only plausible piece of going, damn, we might start our first 2 games on the road trying to recover after Wisconsin, Notre Dame, off to the Jets, probably home in week 3. We'll see.
I don't mind that, though, if they do start 2 games on the road. I really don't. Like, I'd rather do 2 home games on the road than 2 games on the road to start the season as opposed to 2 home games right away.
Agreed.
Because then, you like to back end that schedule with some more games at Lambeau Field when the weather begins to turn for the Packers.
You mentioned it earlier. There was one possible leak that came out yesterday. Bears at Packers on Christmas, ? Bears at Packers on Christmas, ? We'll see. We don't know. But if that's the case, then that means that the Lions and Packers play in week 18. So you're starting to be able to piece some of these things together. Again, we'll get the extended version of the schedule later today / early this evening. Just careful on what you choose to retweet and share and talk about. It's kind of like April Fool's Day times 2. I'm not a big fan of it. I literally stay off of social media on April Fool's Day because I am horribly gullible and I'll fall for all of it. So today is one of those days where I just take everything with a grain of salt. Is it a real game? Is it not? Can we count on this? Can we not? We'll see. There's one thing we can count on for sure. Yesterday, per Rob Domofsky, ESPN, was the second day in a row the Packers got a waiver claim, claiming wide receiver Brendan Rice, a 7th-round pick in 2024 who was cut by the Raiders. He's otherwise known, Brandon, as the son of Hall of Famer Jerry Rice.
Seems good.
And they released defensive lineman James Esther to make room. So do we need more additions to the wide receiver room? Is this that was a slightly confusing move for me. Maybe they just wanted to have him in camp for another set of hands. I don't know.
Yeah, and Goody's done this before, right? Like he's done these late, not I guess for a little early, but those June editions where Devondre Campbell and Rasul Douglas was in the season, but he adds these guys late in the offseason and nobody really kind of grabs onto it until all of a sudden you're watching him play and you're like, who is that? Where did he come from? How did the Packers get him? Obviously name recognition with the last name Rice. So it will be interesting. There's some open spots there, I think, Trevor, in the wide receiver room. I'm not saying Rice is going to come in and contribute day one for the Green Bay Packers, but when you trade Dontavian Wicks, you let Romeo Doubs walk in free agency, there's going to be some opportunities for guys to step up, and Rice could be one of those.
All right, man, out of the Brewers.
Brewers.
Or maybe not. Maybe we don't. Maybe we just gloss over this. 3-1 final score. Abner Uribe was one strike away last night from closing out the game, and that's when the fight started. Miz, and this is what sucks about this, the way the game ended completely clouds over another amazing performance by Miz. Here's what it sounded like when he got his 10th strikeout in the game.
Racking up the Ks. He's got 9. Looking for number 10 here in the 7th. And he's got it. And the Miz shines once again at American Family Field.
Okay, so 10 strikeouts, which is great. Bad news, he was out there for the 8th, but apparently is still cramping, ? What do you know, Brandon?
That's concerning, though, right? Like,
I agree.
I don't like that in back-to-back games. Like, okay, it happens once out there in, Washington. You're like, all right, cool. Let's figure it out. Drink some more fluids, eat a banana or two, figure it out. And then it happens again, and then you're just like, okay, is this going to be one of those things that we got to keep our eye on all season long? Because there's no question, Trevor, that I think we all agree that outside of Paul Skeens right now, Jacob Mizorowski is yours one of, if not the second best pitcher in all of baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he is just that dude. Once again, 80 strikeouts this season. Like, he has just been a 2.12 ERA, 10 strikeouts last night, no walks. Like, he has found a way to pitch. He's been everything and more that this Milwaukee Brewers team has needed. But it is starting to get me a little bit concerned when we have these cramping issues, because what happens after a cramp, right? A strain, and then it's weeks and months, and who knows what happens after that. So he says he's good. He was smiling. Pat Murphy was smiling on the mound, laughing about it. Everybody was having a good time. 20 minutes later, the night would be ruined. But nonetheless, it is still, in my mind, a little bit concerning.
There was a picture of Miz walking off the mound and flipping the ball back to whoever was on the mound as he was exiting. What's more concerning, though, here is it Uribe? Is it the Miz with cramping, or is it Yelly that had to sit out after one game with a sore back? What's that?
Yeah, and that was a thing where Murphy said to the reporters before the game that he was trying to play. Yelich was pushing to play, but Murphy was like, nope, we're not taking any risk. We're not doing anything. Now, could it be that he just hasn't played in a month, Trevor, and he went out there in game 1 against the Padres and was a DH and obviously maybe has just woke up and was just feeling the effects of not playing for a month, and all of a sudden now the Brewers were like, okay, let's just cool it down. Let's get ahead of it before it becomes anything real serious. But I don't like the sound of that either. It's just like, just when this team starts to finally feel like their head is fully above water, they get pulled right back down with some not so great news, with obviously the cramping of Jacob Mizorowski and obviously Yelich being held out of the lineup yesterday.
Josh and I had a long conversation about rehab starts and the necessity of rehab starts, and worrisome when a guy like Jackson Chourio pulls up lame in a rehab start, or Woody takes one on the mound in a rehab start. Why don't they rehab Christian Yelich? Do you know something that we don't?
I don't, but I'm anticipating. I guess that it's just because it's an MVP, right? A former MVP, would have been 2-time MVP. I'm guessing that would be the only reason, and they trust him at the age that he's at, the part of his career that he's at, that he can go out there and doesn't necessarily need that rehab stint. We saw what happened with, and could be too, what they saw with Jackson Chourio, right? Like in Nashville, where he takes that foul ball off his foot, and they're like, we just don't want to risk, for getting you back. We don't want to risk anything else to happen. It could be a few different things, honestly.
Based on the conversation, they say it's so important for the player for the reasons like having a sore back and coming back after a month. But you're right. When Jackson Chourio fouls one off his ankle bone, maybe they go, how necessary is that? Maybe not. That's the weird part about it, though. If it's not going to be for all, then why do we choose it for some? The rehab starts are confusing for me. That's all. That's the tweet. All right, rubber match today. It's a 12:40 first pitch, or 1:10?
That's correct, 12:40. Yep.
12:40. That's what I thought.
Kyle
That's
Harrison on the mound. So, listen, gut punch last night.
Yeah.
That one, those are the games, Trevor, where you just want to throw your TV out the window and punch a hole in the wall and just yell at everybody. But you still have an opportunity with your second best pitcher of this year, Kyle Harrison, to at least win this series. And if you tell me after a homestand between the Yankees and the Padres, you go 5-1, I think that's a victory in itself.
Harrison's having a really good start to the year, too. He's 3-1 with a 2.41 ERA, 41 strikeouts. He's been a blessing in disguise. We weren't quite sure, right?
Well, when Caleb Durbin was traded, you remember the Brewers fans, they hate, a majority of them hated it. They're like, why are you giving up Caleb Durbin? Well, Caleb Durbin's batting, last I looked, 165 for the Boston Red Sox. And Kyle Harrison, outside of Jacob Mizorowski, has been your best starting pitcher. David Hamilton has been a nice plug-and-play piece here and there. And obviously Shane Drowan out of the bullpen, who's also included in that Caleb Durbin trade. So Matt Arnold, as always, cooked on that trade. And we'll see it. We'll hopefully get a victory tonight with Kyle Harrison on the mound.
And that's why I have to leave at 8 a.m. this morning. I'm heading to that game with my son's field trip. Last field trip of his elementary/junior high days.
That's a heck of a field trip, man.
Old, right? It's his 8th grade class trip. Some students in their class go to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
We're going to the Brewer game.
That's where I would rather go. We went to the museum or the art museum.
Right.
No, the Brewer game sounds way cooler.
Agreed. On to the Badgers.
Badgers.
We talked about this the other day, how they put together a search committee to find the new athletic director there in Madison. The school said it expects the new AD to begin his job or her job this summer. So it's not going to be this long, framed out, drawn out, this is going to be an interim thing for a year type of situation. This is going to be all right, we're going to go find our person. We're going to get them in the seat here to start in the summer, and away we go. If you look fickle, and you're not a part of these conversations, does that worry you?
It probably should.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it should.
It probably should. I mean, does it feel like, I know I have questions coming up here shortly, but does it feel like there's more questions around the Wisconsin Badgers than there ever has been?
Yes.
And obviously there's other things that come into play with the transfer and the NIL and all that conversation and money and whatnot. But it just feels like for the first time, at least in my lifetime, Trevor, it feels like there's more uncertainty around that university than there ever has been, which hurts my heart a little bit because usually you could always depend on a very solid Badgers program, whether it be basketball or football. But now it just feels like there's so much uncertainty, guys stepping down, unexpectedly. It just feels like there's a lot of shakiness there with the program.
We mentioned it earlier, UW and Notre Dame at Lambeau Field on Sunday, September 6th. The Nicolay Law Talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Jason in the 920 was there for UW versus LSU, and he said that they did paint the field other than the middle emblem. That color scheme was easily painted over, though, so he doesn't see it being a factor whether the Packers are going to open up at home in week 1 or away. Okay. Are you going to that game, Badgers, Notre Dame, Lambeau?
No, probably not.
No,
I probably
no
should. I probably should. See, this goes back to the comment I just made. There's a lot of uncertainty. I got to get hyped up with the Badgers. It's been tough, Trevor. And that's the spoiled fan in me because growing up, the Badgers were always pretty good. Obviously, it's changed with the NIL and the transfer and whatnot, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I couldn't make the trip. I'll tell you this. I'll admit this. I don't know if I've ever admit this on here. I've never been to a Wisconsin Badger football game, ever. Point blank, period.
414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talking text line. We got to get Brandon some tickets. And they need to be, I hope you all agree with me across the state of Wisconsin on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. If Brandon's going to go to his first Badger football game, it can't be at Lambeau Field.
That's the thing, yeah.
It has to be sitting in the student section of Camp Randall State. Everybody needs to experience that once, and it is a heck of a way to get to your first game and do all the chants. And you're going to stick out. Not calling you old, but we're not young.
You absolutely can call me old. I will stick out. I almost have a college age child, so I'm there.
There's that.
I already feel old at times when they're around me, so I would definitely feel old. But it would be one of those bucket list items. It's still there. It's the only professional, or not even professional. I shouldn't say professional. It's college, but only game in Wisconsin I haven't been to yet. It's been a Wisconsin Badger.
So you've never, jump around.
I know.
It's going to rock your world.
I know.
And depending on where you're sitting, maybe rock your seat. Do you know that? That's a literal thing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen videos of it. I haven't actually been, obviously, there, but I've seen the videos, the press box where the water, they have a video of the cup swaying back and forth.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah.
You're not prepared for that. Brian Braum, former backup quarterback for the Packers back in 2008, 2009. He was coaching with his brother at Purdue for a while. I think I've told this story one other time. he was up in the press box, and I had told him prior to that game, hey, dude, between the third and fourth quarter, you're just going to want to hang on a little bit. And he thought I was absolutely crazy. What are you talking about? No way. Well, here it happened. And he texted us and goes, I'm going to die.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely have to get that checked off the bucket list here soon.
On to the Bucks.
Bucks.
Somebody said online yesterday, and there's been multiple reports about the Heat being in the lead, the proverbial lead to get Giannis in the trade. But the reasoning seems weird. Yeah, players and swaps and all those things, but they believe that the East Coast is the front runner for Giannis because it's closer to Greece. Really?
Interesting, right? Maybe he moved his family to Greece during the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
They're back now in Milwaukee and have been. He's been spotted at the zoo and in various spots around town. Appleton, up near you, Trevor, getting some ice cream. So he's in Milwaukee or in Wisconsin at least now, which I find interesting that he's still back. Usually he goes to Greece right after, but it wouldn't surprise me. But I do think, and I've said this before, I said it on 9 to Noon, I've said it many different outlets, that I just think it's time. I think it's time for the Bucks to just kind of find their life after Giannis, post Giannis, and just rip the Band-Aid off. It hasn't worked. You've done everything as far as an organizational standpoint. You've gone out and made trades. You've gone out and signed all these key free agents, key veterans, Miles Turner, Drew Holiday, bringing all these guys in. You got a championship. I am a lifelong Bucks fan, Trevor. I have a Bucks tattoo on my arm to commemorate the 2021 title. I never thought we would have a championship in this city. At one point, we weren't even sure if we were going to have a team in Milwaukee. So I will always be thankful for 2021, but I just think at this point, it's just time. You've exhausted every resource. What else can you do?
That's where I stand. What else could you possibly do that the Bucks haven't already tried with Giannis to make this thing work the way it used to? I just don't see it.
And he's getting older, right? Like his game isn't going to age great. He's getting older and he's battling a lot of injuries.
Injury prone, yeah. I mean, it is what it is. What's your over-under as to when we're going to find out? Obviously, the NBA draft, mid to late June. They said that we would know between now and then. What do you think? I
think it's going to be soon, probably a handful of days after the NBA Finals conclude. And I think the NBA Finals will be quick. I think whoever wins the Western Conference Finals, I anticipate it's going to be the Spurs versus Thunder. Whoever wins the Western Conference Finals and represents that conference, I think makes quick work of the East in the NBA Finals. We will know, I think, a week or two before the NBA draft, which is the third week in June. I think Jimmy Haslam said it. They're going to move rather quickly, and they should. Like, if you want to build a life post Giannis, do it before the draft. If you're going to get some draft capital, this is the draft class to do it. It's a deep class. So I think we're going to find out here at least within the next month.
All right. Anything else?
Anything else?
Yeah, buddy. It's day 2 of the quadfecta. Do you know what the quadfecta is?
Yeah, you brought this up before the show. No, I have no clue. And I'm assuming it's something that will make me feel even older.
Not really.
Okay.
Well, I can tell you right now, I feel old this morning. When we were younger, #ish 20 years ago, Jason in the 920, one of my lifelong friends from kindergarten, and I created this thing called the trifecta, where that's 3 events in a row. It would be a concert, a sporting event, and a concert, or 2 concerts and a Packer game, or whatever. And there's been a number of trifectas over the years. As I've aged, the trifecta is less and less appealing. However, this weekend posed for the first time ever a quadfecta, where I had an event last night. Today, I'm going to the Brewer game with Riker's class. And then Luke Combs is at Lambeau Field on both Friday and Saturday. And I'm going both of those nights, which is exactly why I'm off on Monday.
Both of those nights?
Yeah. Yeah. Really excited.
So when you go, okay, let me ask you this question real quick. And I know we're up against it. When you go to a 2-day concert, which I love Luke Combs, I'm a country music guy.
Me too.
When you go, do you think the shows are different, or you just want to go and see him twice?
Well, I believe the shows are different, and I want to see him twice. Here's my theory on this.
Okay.
We went to Morgan Wallen at US Bank Stadium, okay? But we went, I believe, on Friday night, and the original show was scheduled for Saturday night. And so that one sold so well that they added Friday night. Well, the same thing happened with Luke Combs. The original show was Saturday. It sold so well, they added Friday. Ironically, Friday is not selling nearly as well as Saturday did, but I digress. The point here is that Morgan Wallen, on the OG show that was on the calendar, had a whole bunch of surprises for the crowd that we didn't get on Friday because it was the add-on.
Okay.
So we're going Friday with our closest friends here in Northeast Wisconsin. And on Saturday, we're just hanging out with whoever we get to hang out with. Looks like some neighbors are going, so we're going to chum with them. Our seats are not by anybody that we know. We just wanted to make sure that we were there on Saturday to experience the actual show that was planned. Is Eric Church going to come out? Is Brooks and Dunn going to be there? What Packers are going to apparently shotgun a beer with Luke Combs? There's a lot to see and do in Green Bay this weekend with Luke Combs at Lambeau Field. Last night was day one of the Quadfecta with Shinedown at the Resch Center here in Green Bay. I had a blast. My youngest son had a bigger blast. He is a huge rock guy. Got to meet Brent Smith, the lead singer of Shinedown. We had a great night. 4 hours of sleep, not great.
Yeah, that's a busy. You might need more than Monday, my friend. You might need a few days after.
Well, I got Sunday. I got Sunday. I just took Monday
true.
to be able to do the things around my house that I would typically do on a Friday or Saturday that I'm not getting to do. And let's be honest, Sunday morning might sting a little after a 4-day
that's
event.
Well, and it's my rule. I have an unwritten rule when it comes to vacation. I always, hopefully Sparky's not listening. Anytime I take vacation, I always take a day or two after the vacation.
Yeah.
I have to. You need a vacation from the vacation, especially when you have kids. So I don't blame you whatsoever. I may have taken a few extra days after that. It's going to be a fun one though. And I've never seen a concert at Lambeau Field. I know Kenny Chesney was here before. So I think that's really cool. I heard Lambeau has some pretty cool concerts as well.
Well, what do you have going on this weekend?
This week, Brewer games. I got the Locked On Brewers postcast.
Yeah.
Wife is out of town. Our daughters are in travel volleyball, which is a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So she's out in Hammond, Indiana. So I'm holding things down at the house with the kids. So that should also be interesting. A lot of frozen pizza and mac and cheese for dinner.
Yes. Yes. Love that. All right. When we come back, we have questions. We know you do too. We have answers, and we hope you do too. Our question today: how much do you pay attention to the NFL schedule release today? Are you planning on going to any away games? If so, where are you going? Are you coming here to Green Bay? If so, when are you hoping to come based on what the schedule looks like? And is there a team that you're hoping to see? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law talk and text line. I Have Questions is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
I want a perfect soul.
414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. I have questions as like, how much do you really pay attention to the NFL schedule release today? Are you literally waiting for this so that you get to plan something out? Maybe you're going to one of the away games. Maybe you have season tickets and you need to know how your schedule will revolve around Lambeau Field this winter, which we very much appreciate, instead of you selling the tickets, which the Packers are like, hey, no. Let's not do that, please. To the point where, like, if you keep doing that, we're going to take your tickets away. So let's not, I guess, do that. Specifically not to people in the other colors. Can we just agree with that?
Oh, please. If you
So
don't want
somebody
them,
here,
keep them. Or give them to a Packer fan.
yeah, that's all we ask. The 920 says on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line, I pay attention a lot. Being a season ticket holder, I'm not a fan of the December-January games unless it's a playoff game. Would much rather have more games in September, October, but I know this whole bogus frozen tundra syndrome, and it will obviously never happen. We're going to have those games. Josh and I talked about that yesterday, Brandon. Do you think that there's still the lure of cold games at Lambeau Field, and is that to our benefit?
Nope. Did you? I don't know if this is maybe a hot take. I said it a couple months ago. I wish that Lambeau Field, you may not like this, but I said I wish Lambeau Field had a retractable roof on it. And I got blasted on the text line and on social media.
You think?
This is a team, though, but with Jordan Love and the offense for Matt LaFleur, they're better in a dome. They're better in climate-controlled environments. Look what they did in Dallas in 2023 during that playoff run. I mean, they just kind of are. Like, I think the home field advantage, the cold weather home field advantage that Lambeau Field once had, I think Michael Vick ruined it. And what was that, 03, Trevor? You'd probably have a better memory of that than I would. And ever since then, it just kind of hasn't really been there. I mean, the San Francisco 49ers came in here and whooped our butts with Colin Kaepernick in the snow and cold weather. And the Giants, I know they're from New York and a cold weather. The 49ers again in 21 when it was snowing. The Tampa Bay Bucks, for God's sakes, from Florida in January came up here and beat the Packers. So I don't think it really matters anymore.
And if you've never sat on the east side of Lambeau Field on a hot noon game early in the season, you might think twice about that.
That's true.
You bake like it's the third baseline at AmFam Field on a hot noon start on a Sunday. It's a lot. I don't do hot well.
I like November game. I like November Lambeau games. You know, that crisp.
I do too.
Early, you know, if it's chilly in the morning, but as the sun comes up, it's a little bit warmer. Then it goes down and it cools down a little bit. I like those sets of weather games at Lambeau Field. But as far as the overall impact on the quote unquote frozen tundra, I do think it's lost a little bit of its luster.
A year or two ago, my niece Claire was walking into her first game at Lambeau Field with us. It was against the Chiefs. Taylor Swift was in attendance. That's why she was there.
I remember that.
It was a very comfortable Sunday night game. Snow slowly falling from the sky. Wasn't terribly cold. And I looked over at her and I said, you have no idea how lucky you are right now. This is your first game. And this is the atmosphere you're walking into. It doesn't get better. Just so you know, you're going to come to games in the future and you're going to be like, why do you people do this? Well, it's because you were spoiled for your first game. That's why.
Yeah.
The 920. I don't get you Packers fans. You don't want other opposing fans in your stadium, but then on the other side, you talk about taking over other stadiums. You can't have it both ways. Well, yeah, you can. That's exactly what we're doing.
That's what they're asking for.
Not only is it what we're asking for, it's very much what we do.
True.
We would like to keep you out of Lambeau Field. You presumably are not a fan of the Packers. And we would also like to take over the other stadiums. It's very catch-22, Jeff from Green Bay. We understand. But we don't care. The Packers fans are allowed to have a cake and eat it too mentality. I think we've earned that.
But the only thing is I don't want to see, to that point that Jeff makes, I don't want to see, and I've seen it, where there are as many Lions fans in attendance as Packer fans at Lambeau Field. I know there's a conversation of green package versus gold package. I haven't seen the Bears fans have come out of the woodworks as of recent because of the success they had last year. Not really so much Minnesota, but the Lions fans have really kind of packed Lambeau Field these last few years. That's the one that chaps me the most.
That's what the Packers front office staff is trying to avoid. It's not so much that people are unable to check off the bucket list of coming to Lambeau Field. That's going to be a thing always. It's selling all of your tickets or the vast majority of your tickets to specifically fans, not only within the region, just from opposing teams in general. So that's really where it sticks most in their craw. 715 says, I'm waiting to see what day it is that the Dolphins will be here. Hopefully Jeff Hafley can make them a little bit harder and help him deal with the cold. Yeah, that's a big stretch there. South Florida to Green Bay. I would like to think that one's going to be in the cold.
Maybe, but I also wouldn't be shocked, Trevor. And we talked about it, who opens up the season, where the Packers could be or not be. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the storyline in week one.
Oh yeah, Malik Willis.
Because you know the NFL loves storylines. We know Chicago's going to Carolina, so it's not going to be Green Bay and Chicago, which I thought might be the case. We know it's not going to be probably Buffalo in week one. I wouldn't be shocked if it's like the NFL wants that 325 national TV, Jeff Hafley versus Matt LaFleur, Malik Willis versus Jordan Love. It's a storyline, and that's what the NFL loves to kick off the season.
If Malik Willis comes in here and lights up the Packers and has a game that's 3 times as good as Jordan Love's, I don't want to do the show the next day.
I don't think that will ever happen. I just don't. I love Malik. I will root for Malik outside if when they play the Green Bay Packers because of who he is on the field and what he was for the Packers on the field, but more importantly, who he is off of the field. Just a really awesome dude. But I just don't anticipate that the Dolphins are in rebuild mode a little bit. They've gutted their roster. So that's the other thing. You catch Miami early, they don't have time to settle in. Malik doesn't really have a whole lot of time to settle into the offense for Miami, and maybe they're still trying to put pieces together. I would not be shocked if that's a week one game against Miami at Lambeau Field.
I like that that's an excuse we're trying to use, that he doesn't have time to settle into the offense.
You got
the guy got here with 2 days to spare before the Packers season, and I think started in week 2 or week 3 and had the offense down just lickety split.
Yeah, you would absolutely be right.
Yeah.
Are you a holiday guy? You don't like the holiday? You don't? Is that when the schedule comes out? Is that one of the first few things you're looking at?
I really don't. I'm not going to a game on a holiday either way. Last year was the first year in 20 years that I've lived here in the greater Green Bay area that I didn't go to a single home game. It's because I had the yips. We were doing the show, and listen, bud, I don't know how you go to games when you're not working, but I'm not there to pay attention to the game. I'm there to have a great time.
Yeah, you're in line at the concession stands. I got you.
So 2 things happen when that happens. Number 1, Monday morning sucks. Which is exactly why I've shared on this program many times in the last week, because people are in me about drinking. Listen, I drink on Fridays and Saturdays. I don't drink on Sundays. So I don't go to a Packer game anymore on a Sunday because I know better. I'm not going to go into that atmosphere. Last night at Shinedown, I was so annoyed by how many people were overserved.
Really?
Sitting there
on a Wednesday night too,
with a water in my hand, not a Diet Sprite. Yeah, Wednesday night. Let her snap, Green Bay.
Yeah, I suppose. Why not?
The most electrifying sound of the day is next. It has to do with Wisconsin. It happens to be another Major League Baseball team, but very much Wisconsin-based. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
2-2 pitch. And it's hit to deep left field. It's carrying. It's gone.
And that's the most electrifying sound of the day, brought to you by our friends at Best Elect. Remember, no job is too big or too small for Best Electric. Don't stress. Connect with the best. Call them today or visit bestelect.com. That, Trevor, is something that we drew up as children in the backyard. A walk-off grand slam. Not for the Brewers. Boy, it sure would be nice to have that in Milwaukee last night, but we did not, unfortunately. Dalton Varsho of the Toronto Blue Jays walking it off. The bases loaded. They were down 3-1 at home, and the home crowd going nuts as he walks it off for the Blue Jays. And to my understanding, there might be a connection there with Mr. Varsho and the great state of Wisconsin.
Varsho is a hometown Wisconsin boy, born in Marshfield, Wisconsin, graduated from Marshfield High School, played college baseball at UW Milwaukee, and became the first UWM alum to reach Major League Baseball. Later became the first UWM alum to appear in a World Series last year with the Toronto Blue Jays, which is very much why I was rooting for the Blue Jays, amongst other reasons.
Yeah. Yep.
As in hating the Dodgers.
That I watched that highlight last night, and there's two thoughts to me. Number one, I kind of already alluded to it. Like, man, how cool would that have been? Like, we literally did. I do that right now when I play with my kids in the backyard. Bases loaded, 2 outs. All right, here we go. Smokes a ball out there to left field and wins it for him. The crowd's going nuts. And number two, as a Brewer fan, rooting for this team, I know you are as well, Trevor, and they have now hit the least amount of home runs in Major League Baseball. You just think to yourself, man, that would have been nice to have one of those in Milwaukee. To just have a guy that you know can come up, and I know they got Jackson Chourio back, but man, just to have that key moment, down a couple of runs. The Brewers were down 3-1 last night. The Blue Jays were obviously down 3-1 when Varsho came up to the plate. It sure would have been nice to have a moment like that last night for the Brewers, but it's really cool to see. Baseball in Wisconsin, Trevor, basketball's gotten a lot of the attention, especially at the youth age. I'm talking high school and on.
Yeah.
Kind of under the radar a little bit, how great Wisconsin is when it comes to baseball and getting these guys up.
That's because it's difficult to play games in the spring. So many times we see baseball games at the high school level, especially getting rescheduled based on weather and so on. You ever seen Hamilton?
No.
The movie/musical Hamilton? No. There's a line in there that says it must be nice. It must be nice to have home runs on your side. It would be nice if we could see some of those things. When you were a kid, you mentioned this. This is the moment we all dream of, right? The walk-off grand slam to win the game. Was it that or a buzzer beater or something like the touchdown, the game-winning touchdown catch or the game-winning touchdown throw? What did you dream of?
I was baseball kid. Mine was baseball. Basketball, probably number two. Football, yes, but I knew I was never going to be anything. Well, I didn't think I was going to be anything in baseball or basketball either, but football, I just didn't have the size or the speed to actually have any hope that it could eventually be, the one sport. For me, it was baseball growing up. My dad, all my family members played baseball all the way through, their adult ages. So it was the game I was always around. And for me, it was always much easier to get a pickup game of baseball and basketball as opposed to football. So for me, it was baseball growing up. Obviously, the Brewers weren't great when I was a child. They've gotten better. Obviously, 2008. Thank you, CC Sabathia. But it for me, it was baseball. And to see that last night was one of those moments, literally, that I would play as a child growing up. Like, bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the ninth, let's go.
You wonder if guys that are in the bigs also had those dreams, or specifically the new number one prospect in all of baseball. It was announced yesterday. He's in the Brewers farm system. Jesus Madej is now the number one prospect, which has lots of questions for Brewers fans going, okay, we've got a lot of really good guys in our farm system. When do they start to show their face? I doubt Madej is going to make it up here at all this year. He's in Biloxi, I believe. Is that correct?
You'd be correct. Yep.
He was with the T-Rats last year, and timing is everything. Coming up at the top of the next hour, in the Malott Meets Morning Mind Dump, we'll chat with the president and CEO of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, Rob Zerjab, will join us. They have a huge weekend planned this weekend. It's a home weekend for the T-Rats We'll also get his take on just how crazy good Made is, who had a cup of coffee in Appleton last year. That was about it. All right, bud, good to see you. Moving on. You're too good to be here.
That's a credit to them, though, as well, potentially. We got to give them a little bit of love, too. Medea certainly deserves some of that, but shout out to Appleton.
And wouldn't you know it, on Sunday at the T-Rats, for the first 1,000 fans, Brandon, you can't make it up. It's Jesus Made bobblehead giveaway day.
That's a good one to get.
We're back in a bit with Rob Zerjav from the T-Rats. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Don't move. Stay here.
Here we go. 1-2 the count on Churio. And he got him. Miller with a strikeout. San Diego does it again. A comeback win. 3-run home run with 2 outs in the ninth. Off the bat of Gavin Sheets. And a 3-1 final tonight. The series all even at 1 apiece. Brewers will go for the series win tomorrow afternoon. Vinny, it was almost a perfect run for the Brewers through the ninth inning until Gavin Sheets delivered.
Yeah, a little bit of a gut punch loss right here.
Yeah, gut punches don't happen too terribly often, but that is definitely one of them. Here's the problem. That's the 7th blown save of the season for the Brewers already. There's only been 19 save opportunities, and we've blown 7 of them. I was told there would be no math, but that's only 63.2%.
Yeah,
Do
not
better.
Great. Not great.
Be better on a Be Better Thursday. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports. It's hour 2. Trevor Thomas and Brandon Snide in for Josh today. The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Joining us now on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. For the Malott Meats Morning Mind Dump, Rob, we're going to get to you in just a second. First, we have to do a little setup for all the things that you're going to give us. Time for the Malott Meats Morning Mind Dump.
I have voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
The coffee has kicked in. We're awake and ready to roll. Let's get some things off our chest and out of our heads.
You don't know what it's like to be me out here for you. It is an up at dawn, pride-swallowing siege that I will never fully tell you about, okay?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm in a glass case of emotion.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
We've got no food, we've got no jobs, our pets' heads are falling off!
It's time for the Morning Mind Dump, presented by Malott Meats. High-quality meats at a fair price, safely delivered to your front door. To learn more, visit wisconsinmeatmarket.com. Experience the power of the family meal with Malott Meats on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
Malott Meats Morning Mind Dump, wisconsinmeatmarket.com. The meat of the month is the T-bone, a little bit of tenderloin and a whole lot of New York strip, all in one for you, hot off the grill. I thought about grilling steak today, Brandon, down at AmFam Field and carrying that in and see if I can go viral, because that's what I need in my life. Not at all.
No spaghetti bags?
No spaghetti bags.
Okay. Steak
Wisconsin
would be
Meat
good.
Market. What's that?
Steak would be good. Steak
I
would
think
be
so. I worry about. I don't know. How do you do that? How would you do it with spaghetti?
You throw it between 2 buns, right? It's steak sandwich. There you go.
Oh, see, that's a genius
I like
idea.
food, Trevor. So if you got any food, I mean, I'm all for it.
Me too. WisconsinMeatMarket.com. That's where you'll get the best of the best. High quality meats at a fair price delivered right to your door. It's also Dime Dog Day in Appleton tomorrow at the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers game. It's the Wiener Dog races. It's Bark in the Park. And there's a whole lot more going on starting today, all weekend long at Neuroscience Group Field at Fox City Stadium. Joining us now on Inside Wisconsin Sports, the president and CEO of the T-Rats, my buddy Rob Zerjab. Rob, first things first, how's the shoulder doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, rotator cuff. It's been 9 weeks, so I can get it up over my head. We're doing good. No pitching yet, but I don't think they need me.
Are you a southpaw?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, is this a pitching injury from years prior?
More than likely. Probably not from my playing days, but more just BP to the kids.
Did you ever throw BP to the T-Rats?
I have not. That actually probably stopped my predecessor, Mike Burling. He now runs the Durham Bulls. Likes to tell the story. When he was an intern, he was a lefty, and Alex Rodriguez was playing for the Foxes, and they wanted a lefty to come in to throw BP, and Mike hit him. And I think that was the last time they let any front office throw a batting practice.
Yeah, no hitting the prospects, please.
Correct.
No hitting the prospects. We just make bobbleheads out of prospects, and I think that's the lead story of the weekend. We'll work our way backwards. It was announced yesterday that Jesus Madej is the number one prospect in all of baseball. So first things first, thank you for whatever you did for Jesus Madej last year in Appleton. It worked.
Yeah, again, this kid, we were so excited to have him last year, and we thought, okay, he was with us for just a short time. He's coming back this year. He had a great spring, and obviously he jumped to Double-A, and with the news today, rightfully so. He's number one prospect in all of baseball. I'm assuming he's not going to stay in Double-A for too much longer because he's just super talented. It was so fun to watch him last year. And if you didn't get a chance to see him, we're stacked with prospects this year too. So I would recommend sooner than later coming out to see some of these guys because they're going to be moving on up as well.
Yeah, Brandon, are you a bobblehead guy? I was going to ask you, Brandon, quick. Yeah, are you?
Yeah, I am a bobblehead guy. I have a whole collection of bobbleheads. Yeah, and to your point, Rob, Andrew Fisher just keeps on tearing the cover off the ball. I don't know how much longer he'll be there with you guys as well. And you talk about Madej. Jackson Chourio is in that conversation. Andrew Fisher, Rob, is in that conversation. What makes high A baseball such an important step in player development? When you see these guys come through your guys' program, what makes it such an important step with that high A level?
And I think things have changed just a bit. We were a low A club after COVID and the restructuring of minor league baseball. We became high A. I wasn't anticipating the level of ball to be that much different, but it really has been. And I think some of it's, again, the Brewers and in general, players are just more prepared. Brewers are drafting a lot of guys out of college. And you see a guy like Blake Burke, who was great for us as well, and now tearing up Double-A. And Double-A is a pitcher's league. And the fact Burke is just hitting bombs, I mean, he was – and he told me last year, kind of the second half of the season, he was disappointed that he was still, after being in college, he was with us 2 years ago, was with us majority of last year, just disappointed that he was still at high A and he wanted to move up. And I think he told himself this offseason, he's going to be prepared and ready to go. And he's taken off. So he's another one that's just flying. And we've been excited to have, I'm very lucky to have these prospects. And you look at our roster now from Batante at first. Yeah, Fisher was just player of the week. Braylon Payne was the player of the week 2 weeks ago. Our center fielder, who was a Brewers #1 pick a couple of years ago out of high school. But he's, extremely talented, great outfielder, and now developing power at a young age. So a lot of guys to see with the T-Rats right now.
Brandon, Rob didn't tell you this, but he gives a talk at the start of every season, and it's two things. Number one, I want you gone as fast as we can. And two, we will make a bobblehead of you if you are gone as fast as you can. That's what Sunday is. It's Jesus Madej bobblehead giveaway of the first 1,000 fans. You can see it there at timberrattlers.com. But it's not the only thing going on this weekend. Craft Brews and Brats today. Dime Dog Day tomorrow with the Wiener Dog races in Bark in the Park, and Uper Day on Saturday. Themed on-field uniforms that look like a lumberjack uniform. What's that about?
We love our fans in the UP, and there's so many transplants in the Fox cities. So Uper Day has become something we're very, very proud of. We take a lot of pride in. I love the UP, love going on vacation up there, and it's been a very fun day. We'll have pasties, all things UP going on in Upper Peninsula at the ballpark, and Saturday as well. If all goes well tonight with a bullpen session, Quinn Priester should be doing a rehab with us on Saturday as well. So he'll be able to don that wonderful UP. I think he's going to really like that jersey.
Yeah, that'd be one he's going to definitely keep in the closet, no doubt about it. When you mentioned Quinn Priester, Robin, and obviously these things kind of are a fluid situation, right? You don't know how guys are going to react to those bullpen sessions, but how closely do the Timber Rattlers work with the Brewers and the front office and the coaching staff to get guys up and kind of back down? We've seen guys do rehab stints, whether it be a game or a week or so. How closely are you guys working with the Milwaukee Brewers on monitoring what these guys are doing for your ball club?
I'd say I pay a lot of attention. I think a lot of people in our office pay attention to when guys should be coming off the DL or the IL, and talk to the Brewers quite a bit. The Brewers farm director Tom Flanagan is just fantastic, and I don't want to say I'll beg, but I'll kind of put a bug in his ear when some of these guys are coming back. Hey, Churio should be coming back. This week it was Christian Yelich, and I said, hey, that would mean a lot. And then it was funny because our team was coming back on a Sunday from the road, and a lot of the guys got dropped off in Milwaukee on Sunday because Christian Yelich had his own individual rehab game down at American Family Field with a bunch of our players. So once I heard that the guys were getting dropped off in Milwaukee for that game, I figured, well, that means Christian's not coming here on Tuesday. So, I guess he's got enough clout that he can just have his own rehab game in his own backyard and back in the lineup right away.
Okay, so that's news.
That is.
Because Brandon and I just talked about that earlier. Christian had to sit out yesterday with a sore back. And we've had the conversation with you and other members of your staff about rehab assignments more than once. We're talking with Rob Zerjab, the president and CEO of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Homestand weekend for the T-Rats. To learn more, visit timberrattlers.com. We wondered why Christian Yelich didn't do a rehab assignment, because it seems to be the baseball way. If you're injured, you go through a rehab assignment, either with you there in Appleton or down in Nashville, whatever works best for scheduling purposes. And they really believe in the rehab assignment program, yet Christian Yelich didn't make a rehab assignment. We thought it was because, well, I guess it's because the reasons you just said. It's Christian Yelich, former MVP. I guess he gets his own rehab game. So timeout, that was breaking news, whether you accidentally broke it or not. What happened? He had his own rehab game in Milwaukee?
Yeah, again, and it's him when you have so much service time, and I think it might be once you pass 10 years, you don't have to do a rehab. It's totally up to you. So yeah, I think Christian just said, I'm feeling good. I'm ready to go. I don't need to go see minor league pitching. And we just brought, a bunch of our guys into American Family Field, and I was not there, so I don't know exactly how it all went, but I know that he did feel good about it, and obviously good enough to just go up to the Brewers. I would say everybody that comes to Wisconsin ends up doing much better. So I highly recommend these players. If any of the Brewers are up this early listening, they should do a rehab in Appleton. Talk to Brandon Woodruff. He loves it up in Appleton, and we'll probably end up seeing him at some point too. But we think they should do a rehab with Appleton all of the time. And we try to throw out the red carpet and make sure it's a great experience for them. But obviously understand as well, they're there to be big leaguers. And when you're Christian Yelich, you kind of set your own terms.
I don't think there's a better organization, the Timber Rattlers, Rob, that give out promotions, that do these sort of giveaways better than you guys, obviously, with the Midday bobblehead on Saturday, Uper Day on Saturday. Friday, you got Dime Dog Day. I've always been curious, how do you guys come up with these? What's the creative process for these giveaways, for these ideas? Is it a group of people sitting around a table and just throwing ideas, throwing darts at the wall and seeing what sticks? Because you guys continue to just knock it out of the park, pun intended there, with the giveaways for the Timber Rattlers.
Yeah, it is. We have a great creative team. We pretty much take advice from anybody and everybody. And you throw it against the wall, see what sticks. You try something. If it doesn't work, you just move on. And we've had a lot of success. We found success with bobbleheads. We do 10 a year. So yeah, very excited about the Midday bobblehead on Sunday. But Dime Dogs on Friday. That's when you quote unquote borrow from other teams. West Michigan Whitecaps have had a lot of success. We saw they did Dime Dog. We're like, man, that's cheap. We tried Quarter Dog. That was not the same ring. I guess you needed the alliteration. So Dime Dog has been a huge success. We do limit it to 5 now per transaction. It's just
that's a heck of a deal, Rob. That's a heck of a deal.
Everybody's coming up with $1 and wanting 10 hot dogs, and we can do that, but you just can't keep giving out 10 and keep them warm. So we figured, okay, you can take your 5, come back in line, you can get another 5. So we do not limit the number of hot dogs you can eat, just the number you can purchase in a transaction. But and it's Wiener Dog Race. That's a fun one. Before the game, we have over 100 Wiener Dogs on the field. If you have not seen it, we've gone viral with it. I believe it was on the Today Show last year. come out early. And we were worried the first year we did it. How long is this going to take? What kind of mess is it going to create?
Literally.
And these dogs fly. It gets done in about 20 seconds. And just fun to see, but it's also bark in the park. So bring your own dog out to the ballpark, even if it's not a wiener dog. And a lot of fun stuff happening on Friday night.
Even if it's not a wiener dog, all dogs are welcome.
We do not discriminate. All dogs are welcome.
What's the record for most hot dogs on a dime dog day? Anybody know?
We have it posted in the ballpark. Shoot. I think we're around 11,000 that we went through on a dime dog night. So
does anybody know if one person ate a specific number?
Oh, that's a great question. I think, Trevor, you should come on down, put it to the test. We'll put your face on the video board and announce you as the champ.
Listen, I would, but I don't want you to lose twice in 1 week. My son was there for Bang for Your Buck night on Tuesday, and let's just say you don't need any more of my family hurting your bottom line this week in the hot dog category.
Gotcha.
Rob Zerjav, the president and CEO of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, joining us on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brandon snide in for Josh today. All right, buddy, one or two more. So when you do weekends like this, then typically it's followed by an off weekend. It's NFL schedule release day. What's the method to the madness there with the MILB, knowing you're here 1 week, gone the next, and then here for another full week typically as the summer goes on?
Yeah, it's been great. And again, this was started during COVID, right after COVID. It was a way to have teams in one spot, and you're not traveling as much, not on the bus as much. And then I think everybody figured out this is just great. It's a guaranteed off day. Every Monday is an off day, so it gives the players more rest. But then you get settled in a city. So whether you're traveling or you're at home, you're not just living out of a suitcase per se. And the Major League clubs loved it. The minor league players, coaches loved it. We loved it because you just kind of know you're home for a week, gone for a week, home for a week. Fans loved it. It was just easy to kind of figure out the schedule. And it's been one of those things that was, I guess, maybe a positive that came out of COVID. And we love it because it's just you get into a groove. In the past, it used to be you're home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, gone Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back on Tuesday, Wednesday, then gone Thursday, Friday, back. And you just never kind of got into a groove as a staff, or, when the team was going to be there, or the fans didn't really know. But now it's very consistent. And we like it. We're not traveling abroad quite yet, but who knows?
Rob, I got to ask you one more baseball question, if you don't mind. It'll be my last one for you. Everybody knows about Andrew Fisher, right? He played in the World Baseball Classic. He's tearing the cover off of the ball. Is there a player outside of Andrew Fisher that Brewers fans should be paying attention to? Maybe a name that's kind of sliding under the radar a little bit, as you see as a name that the trajectory is pointing upwards that could potentially be a future star for the Milwaukee Brewers?
Great question. I'll give you actually a couple. And I mentioned Braylon Payne, and they kind of look at the Brewers system right now, and it's infield laden, shortstop, third base, no outfielders. But Braylon Payne, he is a talent, very young, still a lot of room for growth. I think Braylon's going to be a big leaguer. Marco Dingus, catcher for us. The kid can just rake. The power is immense. Still working on the catching tools, but he's another one. And then one that's probably really under the radar, Josh Adamchevsky. Didn't really have a position. He's kind of finding that in left field. And again, someone that can just hit, has the hit tool, and just fun to watch. And the fact he's kind of got a position, an outfield position that, the Brewers do need some guys in the minors. Those three specifically, I think, are guys to watch.
That's a lot of talent, Rob. That's a lot of talent, man. It's fun to watch you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. It's fantastic stuff. On the field, off the field, with the dogs, without end dogs, whatever. 10-cent dogs, you name it.
Yeah, we've got something for everybody. There's a lot going on. I didn't mention Eric Batanta. You should see this guy in person. 6'5". He just looks like a ball player. When he hits the ball, I mean, they're just shots. And again, the power for him is off the charts. So a lot of talent on the field, yes. Off the field, a lot of fun stuff going on. Starting this week and then throughout the summer, there's something going on basically every day.
Tickets and more info at timberrattlers.com. Home today, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday for the big Jesus Made bobblehead giveaway. Rob, good to see you, buddy. We'll talk to you again soon.
Sounds good, Trevor. Appreciate it, Brandon. Good to see you.
Thanks, Rob.
The Wisconsin Sports Radio Network guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. It is a Be Better Thursday with the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau. Who in the world of sports or otherwise in your world need to be better? 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. Be Better is next. We're live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Abner Uribe, listen, please.
It's time to answer the question, who needs to be better? Is it a team?
I need to be better for our team.
A coach?
I got to be better as a coach.
A player?
I got to be better. We got to be better. Just facts.
Let us know who you think has to be better. Brought to you by the Better Business Bureau. Show people your business is better. Get BBB accredited with the Better Business Bureau at bbb.org.
That's right. Time to find out who needs to be better. Brought to you by the Better Business Bureau. 90% of consumers recognize and trust the BBB seal and logo. If you want to showcase your business as a better business, get BBB accredited. Learn more at bbb.org.
A Be Better Thursday on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Brandon Snide in for Josh this morning. You know how to make your day better? You join Tommy Wirtz in the leadoff show on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network this morning, starting at 11:30 before Milwaukee plays their third game of their series, the rubber match against the San Diego Padres. The leadoff show today, starting at 11:30 with Tommy Wirtz on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Okay, so speaking of those Brewers, our saves need to be better. Or maybe Abner Uribe, or in some people's opinion, on the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line this morning, 414-677-1250. Pat Murphy needs to be better in how he manages the pitching staff. I don't know if I want to go that far, but Abner Uribe, come on, bud. Come on.
Oh, man.
Can't be walking dudes in the ninth. That's number one. Number two, stay dialed in. I feel like he gets the yips, Brandon, when he finds himself in those situations where he did walk a guy, and it was kind of leading down the wrong path, yet he was, in his defense, one strike away from winning the game, having the save, and instead Brewers lose 3-1 because he gave up a 3-run dinger.
Man, it's such a gut punch. It really, and it's a 162-game season, Trevor. You know this. I know this. All baseball fans, including Brewers fans, know this. They're going to lose more games like this. They're also going to be on the other side of things, where they're going to win games where they maybe not should have won a game. But when you were on the cusp of a 6-game win streak, the Cubs had lost the night before. The Brewers were on their way to winning within a game and a half. You'll see the Cubs coming up in just a few days after the weekend is over. It just felt like such a golden opportunity for Abner Uribe, for the Milwaukee Brewers to kind of just grab a hold of the momentum a little bit. They've deserved it. They have kept their head above water during this tough stretch of injuries and their schedule, and they were finally getting guys back, and it felt like they were breaking it a little bit, and then to lose in the way that they did is just unfortunate. However, I don't want to put all the blame on Abner Uribe and the bullpen, even Pat Murphy, Trevor, to some of the texters' points. For me, it's the offense, too, has got to be better. Yeah. You got to have more. The only run they got was a fielder's choice off the bat of Bryce Terrain. Like, you had no wiggle room whatsoever in the top half of the ninth inning. That's a really good San Diego Padres offense. I mean, it's a star-studded lineup. They were, I don't know if they are in first place now. They might be in first place. Coming into this series, they were leading the NL West. They were ahead of the Dodgers. Like, it's a really good roster. The Brewers bats, the Brewers offense has to be better. It's got to be more consistent. And Pat Murphy has talked about it. The players have talked about it. You get Andrew Vaughn back. You get Jackson Trio back. We'll see what happens with Christian Yelich. We'll see if he's in the lineup, out of the lineup last night due to a sore back. But overall, you can't always blame the bullpen when it's just a 1-0 game. They're prone to give up a run or two. They're 20-2, 20 wins, 2 losses when leading after eight innings this season. So it's not entirely the bullpen's fault, in my opinion.
You're absolutely right. And the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line agrees. 414-677-1250. But back to the save thing. This year alone, the Brewers have had 19 save opportunities, and only 12 of those opportunities were actually saved. 7 blown saves already through 40 games this season, which is a pace of about 28 blown saves over 162 games. Last year, the Brewers had 45 save opportunities and blew 21 of them, which was roughly 68%. So, unfortunately, it's average, and I don't like it. So, be better.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing. And we'll talk about it coming up shortly. Who is the closer? McGill lost his role. Abner Uribe was put into that role. Aaron Ashby has been fantastic out of the bullpen for the Brewers, but he's in a good spot to be used. But it doesn't, and I hate to go back to this and pick on Joey because it feels like enough Brewers fans do that. But with the bases loaded, you can't go down sitting there staring at strike three. Trevor, like put the bat on the ball, put the ball in play somehow, some way. Like that's how the Brewers get things done. Now I know Joey had the home run on Tuesday to get the scoring started and had a sac fly later in that game. But with the bases loaded, you had Michael King on the ropes, the starter for the Padres last night. You give Jacob Mizorowski 2, 3, 4 run advantage. He didn't even need it last night because he was electric again. And he has been, outside of Paul Skeens, the best pitcher in baseball. You give that guy, generally speaking, you give the Brewers starting rotation, which is one of the best in all of baseball, a little bit more run support, and you're probably looking at a different outcome most nights going forward. The bullpen is always going to be, it's going to be tough when you're up 1-0. Like you're not going to win many games by a final score of 1-0. Look across baseball in general. You're not going to see it quite a bit. So it's hard for me to sit here and I see the negative backlash coming off to Abner Uribe and Trevor McGill and Pat Murphy. I mean, again, what do you expect? These guys, they're not going to be perfect every single game. And yes, over the course of the season, you want it to be better than what you've seen. But you, as an offense, this is a league that is getting towards scoring runs and putting guys on base. You got to be better. You got to be better offensively speaking. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, leaving 9 guys stranded on base is unacceptable, in my opinion.
A Be Better Thursday on Inside Wisconsin Sports. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line. A Be Better Thursday with the Better Business Bureau. The 715 says, hey, Brewers fans, be better. Stop booing Manny Machado. The Dodgers got him as a rental. He knew it and played the villain perfectly. Since joining the Padres, however, he's been a model of consistency at the plate and with the glove and an excellent teammate. Get over it. 715. I appreciate your optimistic view on life. I really do. But be better. Are you kidding? I hope we boo Manny Machado until I hope someday he's a manager and he comes back to AmFam Field and we boo him then too. I don't care if he played the villain. He kicked one of our dudes in the ankle.
It could have seriously hurt him too in that moment. So I'm not there. I don't boo him. He doesn't really bother me as much as like Wilson Contreras, for example, who was with the Cubs, with the Cardinals, and now is with the Boston Red Sox. But I get it to the fact of fans booing Machado, but he don't really bother me a ton.
The 414, Mike from the Fox Point says that pencil-necked geek Shams at ESPN needs to be better. The man is so dead set on pushing Giannis out of Milwaukee that he is single-handedly ruining ESPN. Any joy I have for the Bucks and the NBA as a whole. Dude, go away. Be better. Well, Bucks man, Brandon Stein. Do you think Shams needs to be better in this scenario?
Yeah. And that's the thing with Bucks fans, right? When the news first came down that Taylor Jenkins was hired and that Shams said Giannis had no input in the coaching, and Bucks fans went after Shams Charania of ESPN. Oh, you're a liar. Giannis was at Fiserv Forum on this day, at the Trade Hotel on that day. He knows Taylor Jenkins. He was definitely involved in the hiring process. And then John Horst comes out at the press conference for Taylor Jenkins at the Art Museum in downtown Milwaukee and says, no, Giannis was never included. And then Bucks fans are like, oh, well, Shams was kind of right. I say this. You want to be better? Let's be better on this Thursday, Trevor. Giannis needs to be better. Come out and tell fans what you want, man. Come out and say what you want. Stop playing both sides of the coin here. Stop going one side in, other side out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like, just be honest. Yeah, I want to be in Milwaukee. I know he always says I want to win championships. Okay, but what does that mean? The Bucks have done everything to give you that opportunity. You got to look in the mirror sometimes and realize I might be the problem. Maybe I got to be healthy in March and in April. I haven't been healthy in 4 years. So, like, maybe it is a little bit of my fault. But I think he could kill a lot of the Shams discourse, Trevor, if Giannis just came out and was just honest and saying, you know, we hear your agent is involved in trade talks with the organization. And then Giannis says, well, my agent can do what he wants. That's him. No,
Yeah.
no, Giannis, that's not how it works. He represents you and your interests and gets, the ball rolling for you. He's speaking on behalf of you. You have a little bit more control here than you like to think. I think Giannis could be better in the fact of you either want to be here or you don't want to be here. Stop kind of playing both sides of the coin here.
Mic drop. Hey, Trev, how was Shinedown last night? Garbage Man Mike. Well, Garbage Man Mike, that's on my Be Better list, and you're not going to like it. I'm old, and it's loud. My head hurts. My ears ring. I've reached the point of my life where I probably need a set of earplugs to go to a rock concert. So there's that. I'll be better. I'm going to be better myself on this one. I had a blast last night. Shinedown was great. My youngest son, Riker, was living his best life. Got to meet Brent Smith, the lead singer of Shinedown. We had a great night. Holy mother, was my head ringing when we were walking out of there. The pyro and oh, God, it was, I am so
Was
old.
that at the Resch Center?
I'll be better. Yeah, it was. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's
a
loud.
Great venue.
That's loud then.
That's a loud spot.
So let me ask you this. Are you a coffee guy the next morning because you only get 4 hours and you got to get on the road here shortly? So like, are you pounding coffee? Are you grabbing an energy drink? How do you survive these next 12 hours?
I am a coffeeaholic.
Okay.
Coffeeaholic. Yep. Big time. I'm all in on the coffee. I will refill the Yeti mug that's in front of me. Oh yeah. I don't know how many people say, how much coffee do you have every day? I go 2 of these at least, sometimes more.
And that's a good full pot at least.
I don't know. I think my wife makes 6 cups. That's ready for me when I put the timer on the coffee machine. I have that 3/4 gone by the time I get to the studio. Then I refill it here, and I already did that. I'll probably refill this. But let's be real. I'm on a drive to Milwaukee, and we all know the effects coffee has on a fella. And I will be on the road at that exact time today. So I have that to worry about as well.
And you have a headache. You're talking about the head, and you're going to be
have a headache today.
And you're going to be in the car with kids, and I'm sure that's probably not going to help either.
Speaking of earplugs. 414-677-1250, the Nicolay Law Talk and Text line on a Be Better Thursday with the Wisconsin Better Business Bureau. When we come back, we'll get to more of your Be Betters. And the question here, too, as we review the Be Better situation from last night with the closer and Abner Uribe in the situation. Do we have a closer conspiracy right now in the Milwaukee Brewers? We'll discuss and lots more of your Be Betters as they continue on a Thursday morning on Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
I'm not quite as well. I thought you should know.
The Queen of Spice is heating up breakfast at Wendy's with new items like their jalapeno sausage, egg and cheese biscuit, jalapeno bacon and egg and cheese biscuit, and a spicy side twist of jalapeno bacon seasoned potatoes available for a limited time. So get a bite while you can and spice up your morning at Wendy's. And with that, Trevor, I'm now officially hungry at 7:46 in the morning, which I usually am not.
Absolutely starving right now. I was just telling you in the break that I very much I just screwed up dinner last night. Like, I don't know if I mistimed it out or what, but I had like chips. You ever be there where you're hungry, but you're not hungry?
Oh, yes. All the time.
And so most of the time in that scenario, I would choose to just eat.
Right.
Last night, I was like, you know what, bud? This is part of the problem. You're not hungry, so maybe you don't eat. So I didn't. And that, my friend, was a mistake. Because not only with that beautiful Wendy's read and all the breakfast they have to offer, but I now have to figure out how I'm going to eat between here and when we end up at AmFam Field. Hey, speaking of that, 414-677-1250, Nicolay Law Talk and Text Line. This is my first Brewer game of the year. What do I have to go eat? What do I have to try?
Ooh.
I need to know that before, because I'm out of here after this segment. Brandon's got the entire 8 o'clock hour by himself, although you have a guest. Who's that?
Yeah, Jacob Westendorf writes for the Packers for Sports Illustrated, so we're going to talk to him at 8:25. We'll talk about some more Brewer stuff. The biggest concern right now for the Brewers is what? We'll talk about that to kick things off the 8 o'clock hour, because there's a lot of questions. We did the I have questions earlier in the show, Trevor, but they're you're 6 games over 500. Still a lot of questions around this Brewers team. So we'll talk about that. And of course, we'll get everybody's take on the Nicolay fan talking text line 414-677-1250, the whole 8 o'clock hour for all of the listeners out there.
The 608 on a Be Better Thursday says, hey, be better, Quick Trip. At this point, when he texted, it was 7:30. Why is there so much chicken on the hot bar, Quick Trip? What are we doing? Rhino says.
But the chicken biscuits are they're underrated, man. They are so good.
Oh, man, I'm so hungry right
and
now.
You can't just have one, right? Like, I know I'm a food guy. I'm a fat guy. I'm no longer in shape like I should be, but I love chicken. And you add a biscuit in between it, Trevor? Yeah, give me 2 at minimum.
You have my attention. So what do I got to try at AmFam Field today, Brandon? Have you been there? Have you tried some of these newer items? Where you at?
So did I tell you, I think I may have been on the crosstalk with you a handful of weeks ago when the Brewers, John Kuhn ruined Brewers games for me. Yeah, he took me to opening day, and I've never sat in a suite before, Trevor. Usually I'm going, I go to a game, I buy the ticket, I go into the concession and spend X amount of dollars. Well, they just bring you food in these suites. I'm sure you've sat in them before. And
I have, yeah.
You're not even hungry. Speaking of like not even being hungry, you're not even hungry and you're just eating and eating and eating.
Grazing.
Grazing. Yep. I'm great at that. Little snacks here and there. But for me, I guess it's kind of boring. I am just a basic. I love the hot dog and brat at American Family Field. I love the helmet nachos as well. Now, there are things at American Family Field that I probably don't even know about because I just haven't gone to a ton of games. I cover the Brewers after games for the Locked On Podcast Network. So I'm doing post-game shows for the Brewers. So I don't go to a ton of games, admittedly, but helmet nachos for me are the go-to. And I will kill easily 3 to 4 hot dogs in a sitting. Oh, easily. We're talking about Rob with the 10-cent hot dogs, 5 of them easily. I did 9 our first week on the show right here. John bet me, Trevor, that I couldn't have, I think he said it was like 6 feet worth of hot dogs. So we did 9 ballpark Franks with the bun, crushed it within 30 minutes.
Isn't there some contest where you go beer and a dog inning by inning?
Yeah.
Is it 9? What is it?
I think it's the 9-9 rule? Is it 9 beers, 9 hot dogs? There might be a third. Could be
in 9 innings.
In 9 innings. Okay, so yeah, it's a 9-9-9 game. Yeah.
I don't think that behavior is recommended as a chaperone, so I'm going to pass on that for today.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. You might be banned from the list.
Whatever, it's his last one. Let's go out with a bang.
Yeah, there you go.
The Miz needs to be better, according to the 414.
What?
Would you start Well, it's the hydration issue that we apparently have with the cramps. Buddy, pickle juice and bananas and whatever else you got to do, but is that a worry, Brandon, that our ace and frankly one of the best pitchers in baseball is having these cramping issues like he did again last night?
Don't like it, man. I don't like. I know Murphy was laughing about it. Miz was laughing about it. He was in that locker room saying it was funny because he has 10 strikeouts, right? He leads Major League Baseball in strikeouts, and he tells reporters, I didn't even have my best stuff today, But like, I don't want to see you cramping. This is two for two now. Well, I guess 2 out of 3 because he was good against the New York Yankees. And it's something he's obviously learning, right? This is his first year up in the big leagues. He's obviously learning his body. The Brewers training staff potentially learning him as well and what he does and responds to and maybe what he doesn't respond to. But I would be lying to you, Trevor, if I sat here and said I wasn't concerned. Is it not a serious injury, but could it morph into a potential strain, pull, something, tear? Like, I hope not, but it could. So that part of it leaves me worried.
414 says, Brandon, are you the next coming of Joey Chestnut?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think that's so gross. He's actually coming to the Timber Rattlers in August.
Say, yeah, that would. I don't think I could do that. No, I don't think I could do that.
JB in the 920. How old are you guys? It's the 999 challenge. Not old, just responsible, JB.
I don't
Diet Sprite.
I don't go to games and pound 9 beers and 9 hot dogs in 9 innings. First off, that's expensive. That's number one. Number two, usually have children with me. I have 5 kids at home, so usually I'm driving or at least having to be responsible for them.
When you get older, those behaviors hurt more. And I'm not just talking about the beer. You can't pound 9 hot dogs and not pay for that later.
Yeah. You're right about that.
There's no forgiveness.
You're right about that.
The only other Be Better I have for you today before I take off, Brandon's got you for the 8 a.m. hour. Off to AmFam Field I go for day 2 of the Quadfecta. Shinedown was great. Brewers will be just as great today. The other piece that you got to be aware of today is this NFL schedule release. There's going to be a lot of quote-unquote leaks between now and when the actual schedule comes out tonight. Just be better with what you choose to spread in terms of rumors or retweet or take to the bank and start booking flights and hotels. Pause, let it play out, and then go ahead and make your plans. So maybe just social media in general today, be better. All right, the 8 a.m. hour is upon us. Brandon's got you for the rest of the day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning from a Trevor perspective, but stay tuned. We're not going anywhere from Inside Wisconsin Sports. 1 hour to go. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh.
0-1, Sheets drive into right center field. Sal Frelick going back, and it is gone. A 3-run home run for Gavin Sheets. And the Padres snatch the lead down to their last out in the ninth. 6th home run for Sheets. San Diego's been doing this all year.
A gut punch last night for the Milwaukee Brewers. They fall to the Padres 3-1, snapping that 5-game win streak, 23-17 now on the season. Hello, everyone. Welcome into hour 3 of Inside Wisconsin Sports. Brandon Snide here with you. No Trevor, no Josh. Trevor on his way to go hopefully get another Brewers victory down at American Family Field. Let's hope that comes to fruition. Josh with some well-deserved time off, so it's just me and you in hour 3 of Inside Wisconsin Sports. Lots to get to this hour. A fun hour, and maybe not so fun to start things off. I'm going to ask you guys this question, and I want your input, want your thoughts. What's the biggest concern right now you have for this Milwaukee Brewers team? The biggest concern. Is it the cramps that Jacob Mizorowski seemingly keeps having? Left the game last night, was warming up in between the 7th, going into the 8th inning. Seemed to be okay. Laughed about it, joked about it. Him and Pat Murphy said it was all good. Miz after the game said it was all good. Are you concerned with the potential health around Jacob Mizorowski and all these cramps? The second time he's had to leave a game due to those cramps in his last 3 starts. Is it the Brewers' offense? Is it Garrett Mitchell? Is it Sal Frelick? Maybe it's not Luis Rengifo. He had 3 hits last night. Or is your biggest concern right now the bullpen? Who's the closer? Who's not the closer? Your biggest concern right now for the Milwaukee Brewers. The Nicolay Fan Talk and Text line wide open to all of you out there. 414-677-1250. Your biggest concern right now with this Milwaukee Brewers team is what? 40 games into the season. They're 23-17. They were 1 out away from a 6-game win streak. They were 1 out away from beating the Padres in the series and taking the first 2 games. They were 1 out away from a perfect 5-0 homestand and being able to put a cap on it in game 3 today. What is your biggest concern? We'll talk about my concern. We'll get your thoughts on what your biggest concern is with the current state of our Milwaukee Brewers at 8:25. Jacob Westendorf, Packers on SI, will join the program. My good friend. We'll talk about the international schedule for the NFL. Thank goodness the Packers avoided that. So we'll talk about what the international slate of games looks like for the NFL, not including the Green Bay Packers. We'll obviously talk about the games that we do know with the with the Green Bay Packers coming up. We do know they'll play on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So we'll dive in to exactly all things happening right now with the Packers and the schedule set to release tonight at 7 p.m. Central Time. But I do anticipate that we'll probably get more games leaked throughout the course of the day. So it will be interesting to see where the Packers play. We'll see what Jacob looks at, when the schedule does get released, and dive into some football talk at the 8:25 mark. But all for the next 20 minutes or so is for you and I to talk about it. I hate that it's got to be negative, right? I hate that I got to come on here and be like, what's your biggest concern? We should be celebrating that Jacob Mizorowski is arguably the best Brewer starter we've seen in maybe our lifetime. And I know that's a little hyperbolic. And I know some of you are potentially rolling your eyes at me and laughing and scoffing and, talking about, well, we had Ben Sheets here and we had Corbin Burns and Freddie Peralta. Jacob Mizorowski so far this year has just been insane. So I don't know if the concern for you out there is Jacob Mizorowski, and maybe it is the concerns with the cramps. Is it the offense? Last night's on display for a concern. If the offense is a concern from the 906 as inconsistent offense. They were 1 for 10 last night with runners in scoring position. When you go to the 9th inning against a team like San Diego, who over the course of the 40 games to start their season have been an offense that pours it on late. They have a really good back end of their bullpen. Unfortunately, the Brewers saw it last night with Mason Miller. You got to have more than a 1-0 advantage in that game. And you can blame Abner Uribe. We can blame Trevor McGill for having those hiccups at the early part of the season. We can blame, Pat Murphy's decisions, and we can blame that. But I agree with the 906. Inconsistent offense, right? You're 1 for 10 last night with runners in scoring position. 9 guys left on base. How different does that game go if, I don't know, Joey Ortiz takes the bat off his shoulder with the bases loaded and decides to swing at a ball and puts it in play, and who knows what happens, and you get 3 runs, maybe you get 4, you stack wins, you chase Michael Cain out of the game, Jacob Mizorowski's cruising. It's probably a different outcome. So what is your biggest concern right now for the Milwaukee Brewers, right? It's relatively early. It's May 14th, right? Remember where we were last year at this time, right? The Brewers were not doing well. They're improved from where they were last year to this year. They've had more injuries this year. They've had more inconsistent lineups. They've had a different lineup every single game this year, guys. They're 40 for 40 with lineups. So the only other team to do that is Houston this year. From the 414, my biggest concern with the Brewers this season is Murphy's usage of the bullpen. My rebuttal to the 414 is, what would you prefer to see? How would you like that to play out? You need, maybe you're looking at the game last night from the 414. Maybe you're looking at just let Ashby finish out the 8th and the 9th like he was cruising. A knife through warm butter, just slicing through that San Diego Padres offense with ease. Maybe that's your concern for last night, but I don't really have any issues with Abner Uribe being the closer. I have more issues with the Brewers offense in general than I do with Pat Murphy's decisions with the bullpen, with more issues with leaving guys stranded on base. Like, that's been the most aggravating part of this early part of the Brewers season for me. The first 40 games has been, you won 23. If you had a little bit more consistent offense, you probably are looking at closer to 25, 26 wins easily, even including last night. Carrie from Tosa on the Nicolay Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250. She says, like last year, we're 1 bat away. We need a heavy hitter, not an occasional hitter. Don't disagree with that, but at what cost, right? We talked about this on numerous shows before. At what cost are you willing to give up for a big bat? What does that big bat look like? Who is that? What does that cost? Jesus Madej was just elevated to the #1 overall prospect in baseball. Are you willing to give up on Madej? Are you willing? Luis Pena having some health concerns and hasn't played yet since he passed out in the dugout. Are you willing to give up on a guy like Andrew Fisher? I don't know. If I am, I think you got to kind of trust the Brewers and the way that they operate. I don't disagree, to Carrie's point, that this Brewers offense is obviously an issue. It's my biggest concern. What is your biggest concern 40 games into the season? I'm with Carrie. They need a bat, but I think they're going to kind of even out a little bit, right? Jackson Chourio coming back. I think he'll get things going more consistently. Andrew Vaughn will get things. He didn't play on Tuesday, played last night. I guess the one concern, if you do want to have it with health-wise, is Christian Yelich misses the game yesterday to his sore back after playing one game after coming off of the IL due to that adductor strain. So we'll see if he's in the lineup today. If Christian Yelich is not in the lineup today, maybe the worry antennas go back up in the air and wave around, and maybe there is a bigger concern with Christian Yelich in the longevity for the course of the regular season. And if that's the case, who do you call back up? Do you put him back on the IL? What is your biggest concern for this Milwaukee Brewers team? A gut punch last night, man. There has been I can probably count on one hand how many times I have been visibly angry in a loss for the Brewers. Well, really for any team that we cover that I love, obviously all Wisconsin sports. The Bears, beating the Packers in the wild card round comes to the mind. The Bucks, losing a couple of years ago to Boston in Game 7 comes to the front of my brain. But I mean, last night was just, there was so much momentum that the Brewers had built up over this 5-game win streak and the way that they were able to do it, right? Sweeping the New York Yankees, back-to-back walk-off wins. The Cubs are on a 4-game losing streak. The Brewers are on a 5-game winning streak. You're 1 out away from being a game and a half from the Chicago Cubs, who, by the way, also dealing with some health concerns as far as the starting pitching goes. This is the team, the Chicago Cubs, who have won have two different 10-game win streaks this season, and you're talking about being a game and a half away from the Chicago Cubs, which you'll have an opportunity to face them on Monday and begin a 3-game series. That would have been huge, and the Brewers unable to come through last night. And again, it was frustrating on a number of levels. Obviously, your 5-game win streak comes to an end. You're unable to secure a series win last night. You can still do that today, but it's the way that it transpired, right? Abner Uribe gets the first 2 outs, right, in this game, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. Then it's a hit, and it's a walk, and then you're like, oh man, it certainly is. It was a gut punch. It was a tough one last night from the 414. Biggest concern overall is their offense in sticking too long with guys like Mitchell and Ortiz. Yeah. I mean, we talk about what Joey O does at the shortstop position defensively. That's great. I need some offense from Joey O. 2 for 3 on Tuesday certainly helped. But again, he's not consistent from the 414. My biggest concern is you need one reliever and need a bat at shortstop. I've said it before. I'll continue to say it again. I understand he's not necessarily tearing the cover off of the ball down in AAA in Nashville. Cooper Pratt, you paid him the money. I get it. The analytics will tell you he's not ready. He's not ready to come up. But is it a massive drop-off from Joey Ortiz to Cooper Pratt? Offensively? No, probably as an upgrade. Slight upgrade. Defensively, I mean, Cooper Pratt is a really good defender, guys. Like, I know everybody loves Joey Ortiz and what he's able to do defensively. I think Cooper Pratt can do the same things Joey O can do defensively as well. Cooper Pratt won a Gold Glove in the minor leagues. So I think his defense, Cooper Pratt's that is, kind of gets overlooked. From the 414, this is Mike and Hubertus saying, bat Joey 8th. Maybe he won't come to the plate with the bases loaded so much. There is that. And he came up to bat with the bases loaded again last night. It feels like it's every game. In every big moment, Joey O is coming up to the plate with the bases loaded. You almost feel bad for him at this point. But it is what it is. And at one point, it started off great in that opening game against Chicago White Sox, where he has that hit over the second baseman and drives in a couple of runs, but it's just kind of been downhill from there. From the 920, the biggest thing wrong with this Brewers team, the media. Game number 40 was just played, 2.5 games out. What team has the most wins in a season? 2001 Seattle Mariners, who they won the World Series against the Diamondbacks, RELAX. We are relaxed in the 920. I'm just asking what's your biggest concern right now? Because to your point, they are only 2.5 games back, right? They'll have many opportunities to face the Chicago Cubs. But on my Brewers bingo card, I personally didn't have the bullpen being an issue. We had the inconsistencies last year with the offense, if you remember. It was up and down. They would go on it was a very streaky offense last year for the Brewers. They would go on this 10-game rip where they're just, batting over 300 with runners in scoring position. Then, you couldn't buy a hit for the next 10 days. And it was just a roller coaster. And obviously that peaked a few times. You had an 8-game win streak. You had an 11-game win streak. You had a 14-game win streak. And then it obviously came crashing down against the Dodgers, which, give them credit. They have really good pitching. But again, it's just been inconsistency. From the 414, the Brewers are tied for the 8th most runs in baseball. Their offense is going to be okay. Should have let Patrick go 3 innings in game 1 against the Padres. Then Uribe wouldn't have gone back-to-back games for no reason, or just keep Ashby in last night. Uribe is an excellent closer, but isn't an automatic win. He is a ride, right? He's a roller coaster ride. I think, and the conversation, Trevor and I briefly touched on it. Do you think the Brewers have a closer controversy? I personally would just keep Abner Uribe in that role for the Milwaukee Brewers at the closer position. I would keep Abner Uribe in that role for the Brewers, understanding that the velocity for Trevor Megill still a couple of ticks lower than what it was last year. Remember, it took him a little bit last year to get that velocity trending in the right direction. Maybe those two things can kind of even themselves out and go forward. But at the end of the day, you're still in a good spot. You're still 6 games over 500. You just got most of your horses back into the fight, right? You just get Jackson Churio back a week or so ago. You get Andrew Vaughn back. We'll see, hopefully, if you get Yelich going forward, and hopefully that sore back doesn't translate into something more serious from the 262. Dude, 10 minutes into your hour by yourself, and it's been all doomsday. Has it been all doomsday, 262? Maybe. I'm just asking what your biggest concern is for the Milwaukee Brewers, right? It was a tough loss last night. It was a frustrating loss last night. I wouldn't say it's all doomsday, but there are concerns to the 262, to your text. There are concerns with this Milwaukee Brewers team. The offense is inconsistent. The bullpen's been a bit of an issue a little bit at this early part of the season. We can talk about the negative things without being all doomsday. These are just factual things. Now, to counter my argument, the bullpen, when leading after 8 innings this year, they're 20-2 overall, 81-5 a year ago, 20-2 to begin this season. Shorter sample size, obviously. It's not all the bullpen. That's why, for me, my biggest concern has just been, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, is the inconsistency for the Brewers offense. I need to see more from the Milwaukee Brewers offense. I put a lot of stock into Garrett Mitchell at the beginning of the year. A couple of strikeouts again. His average down to 205. Sal Frelick, not much better. He's got a few more hits over the course of this homestand, but again, consistency with Sal Frelick needs to be better, right? We'll see. I will give Andrew Vaughn and I will give Jackson Churio a little bit of time to get their feet under them. And Jackson Churio is, again, just amazing, right? 1 for 4 last night, but he's batting over 300. Andrew Vaughn didn't play on Tuesday, had a hit last night, his average at 240. I'm going to give these guys a little bit of time to get their legs under them, get back into their groove. But the guys that have been up here, that have been doing this, that haven't missed time, the Garrett Mitchells, the Sal Frelicks, obviously we've all complained about Joey Ortiz in certain moments. We do need to kind of ask for a little bit more out of those guys. From the 920, trade Yelich. His contract is killing us. His bad back is killing us. We need to use that money elsewhere. Get on the field or get out of here. Tired of him. I just don't think they're going to be able to trade Christian Yelich. Number one, I don't think they would, even if they were presented maybe an offer that would be intriguing because of the leadership that Christian Yelich is able to provide, right? In the clubhouse, on the field, on the road, in the moments of the high point in the season, in the moments of the low point of the season. So I don't know if they would necessarily trade Christian Yelich. Remember, relatively younger team, right? They have Brandon Woodruff as part of that leadership role for the Brewers. They shipped off Freddie Peralta, who was a leader for this Milwaukee Brewers team. I think that, and according to Pat Murphy, it's underrated. Like, it's a player-led clubhouse. They want guys, to kind of lead. Christian Yelich is part of that leadership group for the Milwaukee Brewers. So I do think that, and again, Christian had a great start to the year. It's unfortunate the injury and the timing of the injury because you morphed it in with also missing Jackson Churio and Andrew Vaughn. But I'm asking you guys, your biggest concern right now for the Milwaukee Brewers from the 262 says, holy cow, it's baseball. It's the middle of May. Yes. Thank you. Well aware that it is the middle of May. It's May 14th to be exact. We can still talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. You want to talk about Giannis trade rumors again? Because I've kind of had enough of the Giannis trade rumors. We're going to talk to Jacob Westendorf in a few minutes in regards to the Green Bay Packers schedule being released later today. But I wanted to talk some baseball because I was it's therapeutic for me. I don't know about you guys, man. Last night I wanted that one last night. I wanted that win last night. Not only did I want to continue the win streak, but the Cubs lost. Every game matters. Tim Allen and I are on the same page with this. We're scoreboard watching from game 1 all the way through game 162. I know it's May. I know it's baseball. I know there's 122 games left in the regular season. I get that. But when you're at home and you have the lead, it's the 9th inning, there's 2 outs, man, you got to have that win. You got to win. When Jacob Mizorowski goes on the mound and tosses 7 innings, strikes out 10 without a walk, you should win most of those games when your starter does that. More times than not, you are winning those games. From the 5-2-0, the Brewers need to get back to small ball, longer at creating solid contact, and force the mistakes from defenses. Uribe needs to get the ball down in the zone. I still believe in Abner Uribe. I do. I think he's the right guy for the closer. I don't think, to answer my question I asked earlier, I don't think the Brewers have a closer controversy. I don't think they should at this moment. It seems like Chad Patrick has morphed into that longer reliever potentially for the Brewers. Aaron Ashby, I should say, is part of that conversation as well. DL Hall is part of that conversation. Obviously, with the injuries to Zerpa, we'll see if Jared Kaning's able to come back. He did throw a bullpen session the other day, so we'll see how he bounces back. But that could also be a big development for the Milwaukee Brewers going forward as far as who is their bullpen. But I'm fine with right now the bullpen. It's shaky. It's not, you don't trust them when they roll out. Trevor McGill, you're biting your nails if you're like me. Abner Uribe, you're pacing back and forth. It's not comfortable. We've kind of been spoiled, though, a little bit with that closer role for the Milwaukee Brewers. And things have obviously, been really well for us. You go back to Trevor Hoffman and John Axford and Devin Williams and Josh Hader and obviously Trevor McGill last year. Like, they've had some really good closers. We'll wrap up a couple more texts here. All games matter, says the 262. Yes, but would rather you be the Mets? Yes, bad loss, but it's a marathon. If they don't make the playoffs, then there can be a conversation to be had. Yeah, but again, given an opportunity that they had last night, I want that victory last night because of everything else that came before losing that game to Gavin Sheets' 3-run shot. It was we should be having a conversation right now. Is Jacob Mizorowski the best Brewer starter you've seen to begin the year? He probably is right now, right? Like, Corbin Burns won a Cy Young, obviously. Ben Sheets is really good. Giovanni Gallardo had good moments, obviously, as a Brewer. Freddie Peralta, Brandon Woodruff. We should be talking about the start from Jacob Mizorowski. Instead, we're talking about the Brewers' bats unable to put runs across the board last night when it mattered. We're talking about Abner Uribe not being able to keep things clean in the top half of the 9th inning. And I'm just generally asking, what is your biggest concern for the Milwaukee Brewers from the 414? Funny, you just described every Major League Baseball team. Their fine pitching keeps you in every game. As long as you minimize physical and mental mistakes, your offense will win you games. Yes. But the Brewers' offense consistently to begin the year has been inconsistent. That's my biggest concern. What is your biggest concern? We'll still read some of your texts at the bottom of the hour. Coming up next, though, we're going to transition from some Brewers talk, from some baseball talk. The NFL schedule set to release for the Green Bay Packers and the rest of the NFL. We do know they are not heading internationally this year. We do know that they will take on the Los Angeles Rams on November 25th. What else do we know? We'll check in with Jacob Westendorf of Packers on SI. Coming up next, you're listening to Inside Wisconsin Sports on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Welcome back into Inside Wisconsin Sports with Trevor and Josh. Just today is a little bit different. No Trevor and Josh in the 8 o'clock hour. Trevor on his way to American Family Field. Josh getting some much-deserved time off. So you got me, Brandon Snye, with you for the next half hour before we welcome in 9 to noon. The NFL schedule is set to release later tonight. Wanted to bring in one of my good friends, covers the Packers for Packers on SI, Jacob Westendorf. Jacob, how are we doing this morning? You all set for the big release of the Green Bay Packers 2026 schedule or what?
Yes, and I kind of love the little crumbs that we get along the way, right? Like we kind of know what's here and what's there. And a couple days ago, the Packers confirmed like Thanksgiving Eve against the Los Angeles Rams. So that part's kind of exciting to figure that out. Now you're already thinking about, man, that could be midseason. Parsons is back, Stafford, just all that stuff. That's fun. I enjoy it. It's fun.
Let me ask you this, because the Packers have now avoided the international slate of games for 2 years in a row, right? They play in London in 2022. They play in Brazil in 2024. Both of those games leaving sour tastes in Packer fans' mouth because Aaron Rodgers would break his thumb in London and Jordan Love would sprain his MCL in Brazil. What are your overall thoughts on the NFL international schedule? Because if you ask Packer fans, half of them love the idea of going overseas. Half of them, me included in that half, despise having to go into a game internationally. J.J. Watt, not a former Packer, but a former Wisconsin Badger great, says that these international games are kind of turning into a traveling circus. What is Jacob's overall thoughts on the international slate of games that the NFL keeps expanding? It feels like year after year after year.
Yeah, I kind of didn't mind it when it was just a showcase of 1 or 2 games a year. You know, you get that one game that goes to London, and then it feels kind of exclusive. And then for those, the people that we have that are content creators and people that we know that live overseas that have a chance to go see their favorite team or see an NFL game, it's cool for them. For, me and the players and the organizations and almost everyone else involved, they kind of hate it. So, I think that that's something where it's become too much, which is going to be the case with almost everything the NFL does. Wednesday Night Football, all of those things. I think it was Tyler Dunn this morning that joked like nothing is sacred when there's money to be made. And there's some truth to that. But, the other reality is, as well as I do, on game day, we're parked right in front of that television and ready to consume whatever it is that's on the TV. So it's not my favorite thing. I'm happy the Packers don't have to go overseas this year to do some of that stuff, but there will be a point in time in the near future where every team plays one international game every year. I'm just resigned to that.
Yeah, Mark Murphy also kind of alluding to that. Talking with Jacob Westendorf, who covers the Packers on SI on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Jacob, we do know that the Packers are at least playing on November 25th, right? It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving Eve to be exact, for the Packers and the Rams. Matt LaFleur 5-0 against Sean McVay for whatever that's worth. When the schedule does come out, right? And there are a lot of things that fans look at, where they're potentially going on vacation, or where, when do the Packers play on what holiday? When the schedule gets released, what are the first few things you're looking at for the Green Bay Packers when you first see that schedule, the actual schedule? We'll get to some of the leaks here in a minute, but what are the first few things you're looking at when the schedule comes out for the Packers?
Yeah, so selfishly, the first thing is, do they play on Christmas? I have small children, so that would affect a lot of things there. So I keep praying every single year that they do not play on Christmas. So it's looking like that's going to be, I'm going to lose that one this year. But after that, it's where are the marquee matchups and where are they on the schedule? So like that Rams game is a good example. By that point in November, we should have a pretty good idea, again, barring a normal health season and all that good stuff, where each of those teams stand. The Packers should have Parsons and Kraft back and everything like that by that point in the year. So you kind of know where they stand in terms of the pantheon of NFC contenders. So that's kind of the first thing. Where are some of the road games? When do they play those? Is there anything on a short week off a Saturday? I know as of a couple years ago, the record on Thursday Night Football was drastically in favor of the home team. So the Packers potentially having a home game on Thursday Night Football as opposed to a road game, that's something that could be a big deal as well. So just kind of looking at, where the matchups fall, where the dates fall. Do they have any big travel expenditures, which this year it doesn't seem like they do. So that's a positive thing for the Packers as well. So just kind of figuring all those things out. And really, like, the biggest thing is always, where are the moneymaker matchups? You know, who are the Packers playing, and who are the best teams they're playing, and when are they? So the Rams, the Texans, the Cowboys, Chicago, you know, that's obviously going to be a game full of juice this year, and those kinds of games, just to see I already know what I'm doing on those Sundays anyways, but really when I'm glued to my seat for every snap of the action.
Where do you like the bye week? If I'm a Packer fan, which obviously I am, if I'm a Packer fan, where do you like the bye week to fit in the best? Because we've kind of lived on both ends of the spectrum, right? The Packers last year had a very, very early bye week. They felt the effects of that later on in the season. I believe it was the year before, maybe it was Jordan Love's first year as a starter. They had like a bye week in week 13, 12, 13, somewhere along those lines. Where do you think the best week for a bye week falls in for these teams in the NFL?
Yeah, I think it's Andrew Brandt who has said in the past, like, it always ends up falling when you end up needing it, or at least like you can always figure out a way that you do need it when it hits. So from that standpoint, I do think there is probably some truth to that. Like, there's 100% injury rate in the NFL. Somebody's going to miss time. Like, sometimes you're just hoping. Like, I can see it now. A guy goes down with an ankle injury, and it's like, oh, it's a 3-week injury. But then we're like, oh, well, the bye week's in the middle of that.
Right.
So, you know, he's only going to miss 2 games. You know, that kind of matters too from that perspective. But I think the answer to that question is towards the end of the season, because you look at some of these teams. I mean, I think it was 2 years ago, the Eagles had a bye in like week 5 or something like that. And they ended up having to run the gauntlet and play all the way through into Super Bowl Sunday. They did end up winning it. So it's not undoable. But if you're thinking about it, you kind of want that rest, recharge for down the stretch against the best teams that you're going to play against. And this year, it's not confirmed, but it sure does feel like that the Packers are going to have a bye week right there in the middle of the season, you know, right there before Thanksgiving, and getting them to a point where, like, they'll be rested to a degree, at least for the last part of the season, which is, you know, last year, let's be honest, that's when everything kind of all fell apart. So maybe getting some rest at that point of the year will play to their advantage.
Talking with Jacob Westendorf, covers the Packers for Packers on SI on the Gruber Hotline. One call, that's all. Jacob, how much stock do you put into, we see a ton of it, right? Adam Schefter's tweeted it out. Ian Rappaport, all these insiders have kind of tweeted about the strength of schedule. How much stock are you putting into the Packers' strength of schedule, which is in the front half, top 10 as far as quote unquote toughest, but they base that record off of the year prior. Are you putting a ton of stock into the strength of schedule if you're a Packers fan?
Yes and no, because, like, I mean, barring health, again, if those teams are healthy, then yeah, they should be the pretty formidable opponents on that schedule. But last year, for example, like, we saw the Bengals come on the schedule for a game in early October, and we're thinking that should be really good. And the game turned out to be close, but that was disappointing that the game was close because they were playing against Joe Flacco, not Joe Burrow. You know, there are games like that throughout the schedule. The Packers, they played the Cleveland Browns in week 3, and we were thinking that was a layup, and they ended up losing on that particular day. So, you know, sometimes it's when you play a team versus, you know, that you play a team. Like, if, for example, some team might look at the Packers on the schedule and think like, oh, that'll be a tough game. But if Jordan Love misses time with whatever reason, then they're facing Tyrod Taylor. With all due respect to Tyrod Taylor, that's not the same thing as facing Jordan Love. So if you end up facing a team at a, you know, given point, that could be a positive thing for you. But I mean, in general, I think we have at least a pretty good idea of knowing who the good teams are. There's a surprise every year or so with some of the teams that come through like that. But it's not this be all end all gospel, because then by the end of the season, there are teams who have the, you know, the front part, or they're at the front part of strength of schedule, and they end up at the back half for later in the year.
Yeah, and the Packers, obviously, we were looking at last year's schedule and like, oh, sweet. They got Carolina, they got Cleveland, Chicago, and turned into a couple of losses for the Green Bay Packers. Let's get into some of the leaks, some of the rumors kind of floating around the social media world. We do know that the Packers won't face the Bears in week 1. Bears traveling to Carolina. We do know, obviously, that the Packers will take on the Rams in LA on November 25th. We also kind of have an idea of how the back end of the schedule may fall as far as week 18. What are some of the things you're hearing, seeing, potentially being leaked for the Packers for their upcoming schedule release?
Yeah, so if what we've seen that's been leaked, and Easton Butler's had some stuff that's come out, the NFL, I think it's called NFL Nerds, has had some stuff. Like, there's stuff all over the place, right? So it's kind of having to sift through what's real and what's nonsense. But if you take those leaks for what they're worth, I think, you know, it would be for Green Bay. The first 3 games of the season would be home against the Vikings. That was Easton Butler who said he had heard that. So we'll see if that gets confirmed. let's assume for the sake of this exercise it is. Packers home against the Vikings for week 1, at the Jets for week 2, and then they're back home against the Falcons for Thursday Night Football before a week 5 showdown. So we don't know week 4, but a week 5 showdown against the Chicago Bears at Lambeau Field. Now, if you were to draw this up for the Packers, and again, I just talked about how sometimes it's when you play a team in any given Sunday and all that good stuff, and that's true. But if you're going to have a situation where Micah Parsons, let's just say he's going to miss the first 4 games, if you could draw up the schedule that you wanted for Green Bay in that scenario, the Vikings were not a playoff team last year. They'll be breaking in a new quarterback, and you get that game at home. So that's obviously something that's different than playing the Vikings at US Bank Stadium. Then you have the Jets, who were one of the worst teams in the NFL last year, and I don't know that they've gotten better in that time, since that season ended. So we'll see how that goes. Thursday night against the Falcons, who, again, breaking in a new coach, not a playoff team last year. Michael Penix, there's some questions at quarterback. Will it be him? Will it be Tua Tagovailoa? Either way, that's not exactly playing against Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes like they might have to later in the season. And then, like I said, week 4, we don't know that yet. But then week 5, when the Chicago comes to town, that is around the time Parsons should be able to return and potentially play a decent amount of snaps. So you get him for what is, from both an emotional standpoint for the team, the fan base, and everything like that, and just everything that goes into that game. You get your best player back for one of those games. There is potential for a crowd pop in that game before that game starts, like the one we saw against Detroit last year when Parsons was introduced as a Packer for the first time. So I think this has played out favorably for Green Bay to start the season. They're not playing, the Rams are later as far as we know right now. The Patriots,
which is a home game, essentially, for the Packers. I mean, it's not, but it is. It feels like a home game, certainly.
Right. There's a travel, but, the fan base is basically going to go with them. Yes, there's certainly something like that. But there's not going to be, as of right now, there's no playoff team on the schedule in the first 4 games that we know. Again, assuming all the stuff that we've seen so far is true. We'll see what happens as far as week 4 goes. But again, with a team that could be breaking back in Parsons and Kraft at some point in those first, 4 to 6 weeks of the season, I think that has played out about as well as it could for the Packers to start the year.
He is Jacob Westendorf, covering the Packers for Packers on SI, our guest for the handful of minutes here on Inside Wisconsin Sports. Jacob, appreciate your time. Happy schedule release day, I suppose.
Yes, sir. I'm going to double as a travel agent here in the next 20 minutes. So I can't wait.
Appreciate your time. Make sure you follow Jacob over on Twitter at Jacob Westendorf. The schedule set to release for the Packers for the NFL at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Officially, I'm sure we'll get a handful of more leaks throughout the course of the day as we get set for 9 to noon coming up on the show. And I got to find out what's coming up on 9 to noon because I have been here in this chair for the past 3 hours, and normally I'm in the show meeting with my guys, Rami and John. So you and I and the audience, we're going to learn exactly what is coming up on 9 to noon. Rami Makloff will join us, John Kuhn as well. We'll talk about maybe some of their concerns with the Brewers. What's the biggest concern with the Brewers? And obviously get a look at what's coming up on the program. That's next on Inside Wisconsin Sports on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Did you know any youth sports player can score a free small classic Frosty anytime they visit Wendy's in their sports uniform? That's right. Just stop by after practice or with your team after a game. And who doesn't love a free Frosty? 9 to noon coming up next in just a handful of minutes. And I figured this is a great time, gentlemen. We got Rami Makloff and John Kuhn.
This is 9 to noon.
This is 9. We can do our show meeting now. I'm sure Sparky's not going to care that we're doing our show meeting because I had no idea what's coming up on the show. But we do have some scheduling leaks coming out for the Packers potentially. Where do you guys, John, I'll start with you. How much of this is an anticipation for players when the schedule comes out? Or is it something you guys are waiting around for all day, waiting to see when you're going to play? Or is it just one of those things where you play when you play and you travel when you travel, and it is what it is?
It's I told you yesterday, the players love the schedule when it comes out, but it's not something we're sitting on bated breath. We know we're playing. We just don't know where or when.
Yeah, the opponents.
We even know the opponents
that
we're playing. So really, we don't sit around waiting for news to leak, waiting for news to break. We just wait for the schedule to come out. We check out and we go, we're playing on Thanksgiving, or we're playing on Christmas, or we got the opener this year. That's what you do. You do get excited. You do check out the schedule. You look at it in great depth. 100 billion people call you because they say, I want to come to this game. I want to come to this game. I want to come to this game. And it's almost always the same game. So you got to tell people, hey, you're not on that list.
So we have a few leaks, right? Potentially. One leak, I wouldn't say leak because it's been confirmed that the Packers will play on Wednesday before Thanksgiving Eve out there in LA. Rami and I were having the discussion during the break. Rami, I'm going to bring you into the show because we were talking about.
Awfully nice of you.
Yeah, I try to do that.
What is going on here? This is so ass backwards. You should not even be allowing this to happen.
But Rami has another take
this.
Him and I just completely disagree on. And I said, because we're getting some leaks that the Packers could potentially, we had Jacob Wessendorf from SI on the segment before you guys came on, that the Packers, it looks like, will be playing in Chicago on Christmas. And I said, oh my gosh, I hate holiday games. And Rami, your answer to me was,
what else are you doing? I love holiday.
1,000 other things.
I love holiday games. What are you going to talk to your family? No, thank you. You know what I mean? Let's watch.
He doesn't even
football.
like his kids.
You guys are coming on. This is my show now. You guys have a few. I love my kids. They just annoy me at times. But I also don't want to have to watch and be glued to a Packer game because I get stressed out during Packer games.
See, that's why it ruins. It's not because it's getting in the way of quality time with the kids, because you are a psycho and you can't just watch a football game like a normal fan watches a football game and enjoy it. And so it ruins your Christmas because you're so high strung.
Well, and that's
a you problem.
That is a me problem. Yeah. I won't disagree, but it's an emotional game because it's a Chicago game, potentially, from what we're getting leaks of.
And a late season.
And late season
Chicago game. So maybe big implications.
That's what I don't like about it. If it's Cleveland like it was a couple of years ago. John, who else did they play on Christmas? It was Cleveland and then Tampa Bay, maybe. I don't know. It was somebody else. If it's
Miami once on Christmas.
I thought that was Thanksgiving as well. You're right. It was in Miami.
Christmas.
Yeah, you're right.
We were excited to be somewhere warm. And it turned out it was 35 degrees, 38 degrees in Miami that day. It was miserable. Nobody was prepared.
Yeah, so those, if it's an AFC matchup or it's an uncommon opponent matchup like that, I'm fine with. But now you're adding the stress of the holidays, Rami, into the stress of a Packers-Bears game, and we know how the season ended last year between those two teams. Not great for me, great for you. Yeah, I'm not going to enjoy. I told my wife, I just texted her, cancel Christmas. I'm not doing anything. There goes that. There goes that day. So I'm not looking forward to that potentially being for the Green Bay Packers on their 2026 schedule. But coming up on 9 to noon is what? Because I have no idea, because I wasn't involved in any meeting this morning.
So
you guys can fill me in on what's happening on 9 to noon.
Obviously, we start with the Brewers and a tough loss last night. Vinny Rattino is going to join us. You booked him.
Well, yeah, he texted me
He'll
this
be
morning.
here at 9:25. More schedule talk in the 10 o'clock hour. And random power rankings, and I'm going to surprise you guys for random power rankings. You're not going to know the.
So I don't need to know anything
on the spot.
On the spot,
rankings.
yes.
I like that.
I'm gonna surprise you guys. You're going to rank something on the spot at 10:25.
Okay.
So,
All right.
Stay tuned.
I dig it. We'll hear more from John Kuhn, Rami Makloff, 9 to noon coming up. That will conclude Inside Wisconsin Sports. My thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in. Thank you for Jacob Westendorf and sharing his insight in the upcoming schedule for the Green Bay Packers. 9 to noon coming up next on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.